Welcome, Angelinos! We thank you for tuning in to yet another brilliant episode of the Galaxy Guy podcast, hosted by Chris Maldonado, a show made by loyal Galaxy fans for loyal Galaxy fans who bleed blue, white, and gold. So join us as we talk about the ins and outs, as well as the ups and downs of your favorite team, the one and only, the Los Angeles Galaxy.
Hello and welcome, Angelinos. Bienvenidos. I thank all of you for tuning in to this special segment of the Galaxy Guy podcast. As always, I'm your host, Chris Maldonado. And let's put aside 2020 and get hyped about the 2021 LA Galaxy season, which is now in motion. We have just entered first gear, and for the most part, it seems like we're headed in the right direction. But also, we have to remember that in the grand scheme of things, we're not the only team in the league, right? The LA Galaxy, of course, is one of 26 other teams in the league, of course, with Austin joining us this year. So to help me paint a better picture as to where the LA Galaxy will fit into the league this season, I've asked someone very knowledgeable in all things MLS to join me tonight for this special segment. And that, of course, is Mr. Eli Lesser himself, the host of the This Week in MLS show. Hey, Eli, how's it going, brother?
I'm doing mighty fine. How are you, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing well. I'm getting hyped for the 2021 season. I'm ready to put 2020 behind us.
Agreed. Just like the panoramic going on, the 2020 was not great for the Galaxy.
Oh, no. Let's just forget it ever happened, you know?
I am ready to Thanos snap that right now.
So, see, here's the thing, man. First of all, let me ask you this. I have to ask you this because it's like every time I see your stream, every time I see your videos, I ask myself, how the heck do you keep up with all this MLS info in your head, man? It seems like it would require some sort of Rain Man type of memory to hold all this in. How do you do it?
It's called being a dork. I've been one since the beginning of time. And in good ways and in bad ways, I have an addictive personality. I go all in on all my interests, and my biggest interest happens to be MLS. I'm constantly surrounded by it. And honestly, what's really helped me gain knowledge is running my page in general, and also just hearing the fans' comments or watching or reading the fans' comments. I mean, that even informs me in a way, because now I know how this fan is feeling about this player at their club, and I have an idea of how everyone's feeling. I really like to know what the fan perspective is on each signing, and that's been very helpful with my page.
Absolutely. I'm always amazed every time I look at your page. The content that you put out is really insightful, and it's like some next level type stuff, man, I have to say. But let me ask you, when did you first get into MLS? How did that start for you?
Yeah, so my grandpa was a big European soccer fan. And in 2007, David Beckham obviously signed with the Galaxy. I'm third generation LA born and raised, by the way. And he wanted to go see him play. I had never really heard much about soccer before besides like playing AYSO. I was like, let's do it. And I fell in love with the league instantly. Unlike most people, I started watching soccer through MLS, not the EPL, not
Right.
La Liga. And then I became obsessed with the league more in like the 2010s with Robbie Keane really coming to LA. I think that really got me excited about the league because he was my favorite player for such a long time.
It was the backflips, right?
Oh yeah, obviously.
The somersaults.
And I started my page in 2015 because I've always wanted to be a sports broadcaster, and I thought that was the way to get started heading into high school.
And now you're doing it, man. I got to say, it seems like you're living the dream, dude. Just talk MLS all day, every day.
I mean, my goal is to not have a real job, but to still make a lot of money. And I hope I'm on the right path right now.
You probably should have chosen the NFL.
Yes, but at the same time, I was like, so it started with me going to a sports broadcasting camp, right? And I was a big Dodger fan at the time. Baseball was my number one sport. I always liked MLS, but it wasn't my main sport. I go to the camp wearing a Dodger hat and a gray hoodie, and I enter in the room with all the campers, everyone else is wearing a Dodger hat and a gray hoodie. At first I was like, this is really cool. Everyone's like me. And then I realized, wait, everyone's like me. And no one else was talking soccer there except for me. So it became my initiative to be the soccer guy and to be the Major League Soccer guy specifically, because there's nothing I love more than being a part of something that's growing. And NFL is not going to grow any more than it already is. MLB is certainly not going to grow any more than it is. And honestly, I didn't even like football growing up. I mean, we never had a team to root for in LA until recently. So I never really had an affiliation. So like, football was my football, and it was great.
Totally.
And I love it.
See, I can relate to that. I've been a Galaxy fan since 1996, when my family first immigrated to the States in 1995. The very next season, it was like, dude, we were just naturally drawn to the LA Galaxy because of Mauricio Cienfuegos, Salvadorian national team legend, right? So big fan of the LA Galaxy. And as a big fan of the LA Galaxy, I really want to know, Eli, and I really need to pick your brain on this, okay? Because you're the guy to talk to about this. I really want to know where the LA Galaxy is going to fit in to the rest of the league in 2021. I want to know how my team will measure up to the rest of the league this season. And it seems like the LA Galaxy is trending in the right direction for the first time in a long time. And then there is hope, right? There's light at the end of the tunnel, but I want your opinion on where you see the LA Galaxy fitting in to MLS in 2021.
There's a couple good things going for the Galaxy and also a couple not so great things going for the Galaxy. Would you like me to start with the good or the bad?
Shoot me up the bad stuff, man. Hit me with the bad stuff first.
The bad thing is there's so many questions about the Galaxy themselves heading into the season. Is Chicharito going to show up this year? Do we have a decent back line? Do we have a number 10? Pavone, it seems like, based on the news I heard today, he is definitely not coming back. And is this guy that the Galaxy are going to get from Monaco going to be a sufficient replacement for him? Those are the big questions. But the good news is pretty much every team has a whole lot of questions right now in Major League Soccer. And the fact that the Galaxy were able to move on from Guillermo, and I'm just going to give you my little impression of him right now. This will not be offensive, I promise.
Go for it.
This is him on the sideline. I mean, that's not a coach. How do you expect someone like that to lead your team and to be? I mean, I don't think I ever heard him speak once while he was with the Galaxy.
No.
And I attended practices I went to a couple practices, got to ask questions. I don't think Guillermo spoke at all. So we have Greg Vanney, someone who has proven himself to be a winner in MLS. He's always been a G anyways, because he played for the Galaxy. I mean, that's a no-brainer hire. And I'm surprised Toronto just let him walk, or I guess he wanted to leave. But that's a dub for the Galaxy. Yeah. And in general, I like the signing of Derek Williams, the center back. I just hope he doesn't become one of those big money international center backs the Galaxy pay for, because those have not gone their way recently.
Hey, could be worse. Could be $1 million per season, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a worse defender than Jorgen Skjelvik. But I think Derek Williams should be better. It's nice to see the first Irish player for the Galaxy since Robbie Keane. Yeah. And I know Robbie commented. Yeah, Robbie commented about that, and he was excited about it. But I gotta feel a bit optimistic just because, hey, we still got some good players. We don't have the best squad out there, but a lot of MLS teams got weaker this offseason, and you can't say the Galaxy got any weaker. So that's gotta be going for us.
That was part of my next question for you, because in your opinion, I mean, you really have your ear to the ground on this. In your opinion, which team in MLS currently do you believe has had the best offseason so far? Like, I have my opinion on who it was, but I want to get your take on it. Who's had the best offseason so far?
I really hope you're going to think the Columbus Crew.
Really?
Because I don't think there's a team that stands a chance against the Columbus Crew after the offseason they've had. I mean, they picked off the best free agents on the market, like MLS free agents. They signed Bradley Wright Phillips and Kevin Molino. from the Minnesota United, who killed it in the playoffs. LAFC were lucky to have Bradley Wright Phillips last season. And the fact that he's a similar striker to Jossie Zardes, their current starter, I mean, that's great for them off the bench. And then they did NYCFC dirty today.
They did.
NYCFC wanted to sign this Romanian winger. Apparently, that's the new wave for NYCFC signing Romanian wingers, Alexandru Matan. And Columbus said, psych, we're going to sign him instead. I mean, this team already won the 2020 MLS Cup, and now they're looking way better. I'd take their starting 11 or their bench 11 over many MLS starting 11s right now. They have to be considered the favorites to win it all this season. Teams don't usually go back-to-back unless they're like the 2011, 2012 Galaxy. But I
would agree with you.
I like it.
I think the Columbus Crew has a very good chance of repeating their MLS Cup win. I would say though that FC Cincinnati has had a really, really good offseason.
I'd agree.
I mean, they really were bottom of the table. So for FC Cincinnati, the only way to go was up, right? And they've made some big, impactful signings. I mean, was it like the first or the second highest paid striker in league history, right?
Right. Yeah.
So this guy had a killer season last year in Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. This is a caliber player. This is a top caliber player. So it kind of scares me to see that, because FC Cincinnati is definitely, in my opinion, not gonna even come close to being wooden spoon contenders this year. The LA Galaxy, though, you know, and the last thing I want to see is bottom of the table. But I mean, it seems like all the other teams around us are improving at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the bottom of the table Western Conference teams, I would say, have gotten better. But I think a lot of the contenders might have gotten worse. I can't say the Seattle Sounders will be anywhere as dominant as they were the past few seasons now without Jordan Morris. And even if he comes back from loan, he tore his ACL again.
Yeah.
Their only improvement this season's been getting a 33-year-old Freddie Montero, which is great for them because he used to play there. But you can't say that they're a better team. I don't think Sporting Kansas City is any better than they were last year, probably worse. The unfortunate news is I do think that our two rivals, LAFC and the San Jose Earthquakes, have gotten better. And I think a great goal for the Galaxy, first of all, would be to dominate those derbies if they aren't the best team in general. And also just get above San Jose at least. Like, we really want the Earthquakes to be higher than us.
Now it's definitely way too early to put something in concrete now.
Yeah.
It's definitely premature to say this, but as it stands right now, where would you place the LA Galaxy in the Western Conference? Would you place them top of the table, middle of the table, bottom of the table? What type of team is this?
I think they're definitely still kind of close to where they were last season. But I think the Galaxy, there were many results that should have gone the other way. And I think they were very close to having a way better season than they did. If Chicharito actually has the motivation he says he does, because he's doing a lot of talk right now. I'm waiting for him to do the walk.
Oh, yeah.
I think the Galaxy could crack that 7th seed in the playoffs. But if he's going to be the same old, I'd say 10th, 11th.
I would have a hard time disagreeing with you, man. As much as I want to disagree with you, right? I'm going to have a hard time disagreeing with you. I think as it stands, definitely, maybe best we can hope for is middle of the table now. Like you said, squeeze into that 7th seed. But I guess we'll have to see. But, with that said, right, Columbus Crew, FC Cincinnati, those teams, very improved. Which team overall do you believe is going to be the most improved in MLS this season?
Most improved? Oh, actually, I got this one. Because they had a bad 2020, even though they weren't supposed to have one. Mm-hmm. Atlanta United. They're going to be back to the elite levels next season. I think they had a great offseason as well. You could put it up there with the Cincinnati Columbus, with the reinforcements, the new coach. And Joseph Martinez is going to be back. I mean, when healthy, he's indisputably a top 2 player in Major League Soccer. So I think him being healthy next season, if he's back to the same form that he was in before, plus the new additions and new head coach, they're definitely most improved.
Yeah, I agree. I hadn't even thought about that. I'm so preoccupied thinking of FC Cincinnati. It
All
totally
good.
skipped my mind to even consider Atlanta United. They finished, was it
12th.
20? They finished 12th. The total standings though, they were like 3 spots
Yeah.
from dead last, right? And that's, I mean, this is Atlanta United we're talking about, right? This is what they won MLS Cup, what, 2 seasons ago?
Yeah,
2 seasons ago.
2018.
Yeah, there's absolutely no reason for such a good team to be so low. So I could definitely see them just, you know, improving that much this season.
For sure.
I recently saw that you put out a video kind of breaking down the best number 10s in the league, right?
Yes.
So this LA Galaxy team has been in desperate need of a playmaking center attacking midfielder for a long time, like 5 or 6 years now. In your opinion, who should the LA Galaxy be looking for to
I'm
fill that
trying to
spot?
I'm trying to think of specific names,
Mhm.
but it's really just a prototype. At this point, you just need an Argentine number 10 from
Lionel Messi.
Oh, obviously Messi. But no, I mean the Galaxy just need they needed a Diego Valeri type guy, someone who Lucas Zelarayan would be great. Not him specifically, but someone who's got many years left in their legs. Unlike Sasha Kleshtan, unfortunately. But could be a guy you build around in the league. All the best teams in MLS last season, the top 4 teams that made it to the semifinals of the playoffs, Minnesota, Seattle, Columbus, and New England, they all had a DP number 10. New England's was Spanish. But the other 3 were Argentine number 10s. I mean, we saw what Emmanuel Reynoso became for Minnesota United out of Boca Juniors. We got to get the next him over to the Galaxy.
And it's been like that for several seasons now. In the modern era of MLS, you cannot win an MLS Cup unless you have a designated player number 10,
preferably from Argentina,
creative midfielder. I mean, you look at, I mean, last year was kind of the exception, right? But is he Argentinian? Is Celerian Argentinian?
No, he is.
He is. Okay, so then right? So he's a designated player, that center attacking midfielder. 2019, it was
Seattle with Ladero. He's
Uruguayan,
but
right?
still
Uruguayan.
From the Argentine league.
It's like as far back as you want to go, after that 2014 MLS Cup win for the LA Galaxy, every single team that has won MLS Cup has had a designated player center attacking midfielder, something the LA Galaxy hasn't had in a very, very long time. I know some people will say that Giovanni Dos Santos was that player. Giovanni Dos Santos wore the number 10, but he was never that playmaker that we desperately needed.
He was supposed to be that guy, and he was really good for one season, and then it all went to shambles. I mean, people forget he did make best 11 in 2016, and he did have a decent amount of goals and assists, but then the motivation just went like, and
Absolutely.
So did the Galaxy. I mean, he was supposed to be that generational guy that the Galaxy built around for 5+ years, and he just crumbled under the pressure. It's unfortunate, and now he's playing better, I guess, at Club America. I don't really watch
it's the same story as before. It's the same story as before. Injuries, the nagging injuries, inconsistent play time.
The injuries, but yes.
The injuries, man. It's hey, come on. You got to cut the guys some slack, man. Partying is not easy, dude.
I hear every team he's ever played in has been in a big party city, which makes sense. But
I don't think that's a coincidence.
Because his brother, when he is healthy, I mean, he's got his own injury issues. He's one of the most motivated players on the field I've ever seen in the Galaxy uniform. And it's unfortunate, like Jonah contemplated retiring after last season because of the injuries. But hopefully he'll be back to his old self, because when he's healthy, he's one of the best number 6s in MLS.
That's a big question, something that's making a lot of Galaxy fans extremely anxious, because, Father Time is undefeated, right? The older you get, and trust me, I know I'm in that age range now, 31, right? When I was in my early 20s, I could play 5, 6 soccer games a week, and I was like, I felt great. Nowadays, I play soccer once a week. My ankles are shot, my knees hurt, my back hurts. I'm sore for like the next 3 days. Jonah is entering that age. He's 30, 31, and he's had a not so great history with injuries, and they seem to be just piling on top of each other. So that's still a big what if. So I guess we'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, and the problem with that is just in general, the Galaxy don't have depth behind him, really, at that spot. There's no one on the bench that I feel like could come play the role that Jonah plays for the Galaxy. So that's very scary because he probably, if he is healthy, he probably won't even play every match anyways. Mm-hmm. It's tough to see him playing. I don't see him playing all those midweek matches.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an older team, but it has to be, they have to find a way to get the younger players in there, right? Mix it up a little bit. But we'll have to see. Now, Eli, I know you're a busy guy, and I know you have a lot of things to get to that are far more important than this right now. But before I do let you go, I need to ask you, in your expert opinion, right? What does the LA Galaxy need to do in order to stay competitive with the rest of the league and maybe, just maybe, possibly position themselves to win an MLS Cup?
Well, this season in general, and just like what we've noticed with the Galaxy since 2014, is it's not the big star signings that are the most important for the Galaxy. It's the mid-level signings where the Galaxy have really failed over the past few years, and MLS pundits call it the TAM era, the target allocation money era. But I think that's where the Galaxy have failed in their signings over the past few years. I mentioned earlier, those expensive defenders that we've been acquiring from international leagues. I mean, those have been the biggest busts of the Galaxy, and they've tried to fix that back line. I don't think the backline's that bad as it stands, actually. I'm going to try to put I've always trusted Daniel Steres. That's an unpopular opinion, but I've always thought he was a starter. But I'd like to see Nick DePuy just develop. I'd like to see that center back pairing. Maybe Williams will be that guy to pair up with Steres. But no, I think the Galaxy just have to nail those mid-level signings, and Williams will be a great testament to that. If he's a successful signing for the Galaxy, then they've hit the nail on the head and they're getting better at it. But over the past few seasons, I mean, that's where we've seen the Galaxy go wrong in their offseason. And then obviously Chicharito, but I'd like to hope that what he's telling us right now is the truth and that he'll be up to standard, but like he needs the people to feed him. And we don't even know if we have that. So
absolutely. It's going to definitely take a lot of support to make Chicharito successful this season. And I don't doubt that he's being truthful to us. I do think he's trying very, very hard, but it's one of those things where your mind says yes, right? And his mind is probably saying, yes, I'm going to score 25 goals this season, but maybe his body's saying something else. So we'll have to wait and see. But, based off of the things that you've said to me, I have to say I'm feeling kind of optimistic about this season, man. And it's like, up until last week, there was hardly any Galaxy news. It was a drought. And all of a sudden this week, it was just boom, 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 boom. So I share this sentiment, most Galaxy fans, that things are starting to look up. Things are starting to look up. Fingers crossed.
I mean, I try to stay optimistic, and then opening day happens and it all goes down the drain.
I hear you, man. But hey, listen, Eli, I do appreciate your time, man. I am a big fan of the work that you do. I just started watching your new show on YouTube, the This Week in MLS show. If you could tell the viewers a little bit about the show so they know what's up.
Yeah, so I'm trying to be different in a way where I'm going to have interviews like a lot of the podcasts out there, but I don't want my interviews to be serious. When I watch like the MLS.com interviews, it's all like tell us about this soccer question, tell us about this soccer question. But like, I want to get to know the players' personalities a bit. And that's what I'm trying to pull out of them. I'd consider my show an offbeat type of show. If you've ever watched MLB Network, I'm going for an intentional talk, which is the Kevin Millar, Chris Rose. Well, now Chris Rose isn't on the show, but that's my goal for it. And I just want to keep talking MLS. It's my passion, and MLS is the love of my life. So
Hey,
any opportunity I can to talk about it, I will. And I have a rotated co-host every week, a different player every week, and episode 2 drops tomorrow. So I'm very excited about that.
hey, Eli, excited to see that, man. You're my type of people, dude. Talk MLS all day, every day. So I actually I'll hit you up again sometime middle of the season so we could do this again, sit down and kind of see where, whether we were on the money or we were far off.
Probably not, but yeah.
Awesome, man. But I do appreciate it. So to all the listeners out there, all the viewers, from Chris Maldonado, Galaxy Guy Podcast, I appreciate the viewership. Eli, again, thank you for being here. I will see you guys next week, so stay tuned. Galaxy Guy Podcast out.